I'm sorry, but first-class seats aren't for people like you. Those words hit Naomi Carter, a 17-year-old black girl, like a slap in the face. She clutched her boarding pass tightly, her eyes widening at the flight attendant who had just blocked her from taking her first-class seat. Around her, passengers began to notice. Some whispered, some smirked, and others simply avoided her gaze. Naomi had been looking forward to this flight for months. Her father, a successful businessman, had gifted her a first-class ticket for her birthday after she earned a full-ride scholarship to college. But now she was being treated like an intruder, like she didn't belong. She clenched her fists, trying to stay calm. Then a voice cut through the tension, a voice so powerful it made the entire cabin fall silent. "Is there a problem with my daughter's seat?" Every head turned. A tall, confident man stepped into the cabin. It was David Carter, a tech billionaire, and more importantly, Naomi's father. This was the moment everything changed. Watch until the end to see the shocking truth and how Naomi stood up for herself. A priceless gift and an unexpected confrontation. The airport buzzed with life, rolling suitcases, overhead announcements, and the smell of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. Naomi Carter walked confidently through the terminal, her carry-on bag trailing behind her. Today she was flying first class for the first time, a birthday gift from her father to reward her for years of hard work. "Enjoy your trip, sweetheart. You earned it." A text from her dad flashed on her screen. Naomi smiled, her heart pounding with excitement. But that excitement wouldn't last long. When prejudice becomes a barrier. As Naomi reached her first-class seat 2A and prepared to sit down, a flight attendant suddenly blocked her path. "Excuse me, but first class is for premium passengers only." Naomi raised an eyebrow. "This is my ticket." She held up her boarding pass, which clearly read first class, seat 2A. The flight attendant, Karen, barely glanced at the ticket before shaking her head. "There must be a mistake. This seat isn't for you. First class is for VIP guests, not—" She trailed off, but Naomi knew exactly what she meant. She wasn't supposed to belong here. She felt the eyes of passengers around her. A businessman frowned. A woman shook her head. Some people whispered, others looked away. "My father bought this ticket for me," Naomi said firmly, though her voice tightened with anger. Karen smirked. "Your father?" "Right. Let's double-check with the gate agent, shall we?" Humiliation hit Naomi like a wave. She couldn't believe this was happening. When true power walks in. At that moment, the cabin door swung open. A tall figure stepped in. "Is there a problem with my daughter's seat?" The entire plane went silent. David Carter, a tech mogul, billionaire investor, and a father who fiercely protected his daughter, stood in the aisle, radiating authority. Karen froze. "This young lady, we were just verifying," she stammered. David didn't need to hear more. He strode toward Naomi, placing a firm hand on her shoulder, his eyes locked on the flight attendant. "First class is for VIPs? Let me make something clear. My daughter isn't just a VIP. She is one of the most deserving people on this flight." Karen fell silent. Every passenger witnessed the moment everything changed. A lesson for everyone. David crouched down to speak to his daughter. "Are you okay, Naomi?" She swallowed hard and nodded, but her voice wavered as she asked, "Dad, why does this always happen? Why do they assume I don't belong?" David squeezed her hand gently. "Because some people don't see beyond their own biases. But today they learned a lesson. Assumptions have consequences." He turned to address the silent passengers. "Next time you judge someone, remember you don't know their story. Everyone deserves respect." A man in a business suit cleared his throat. "Mr. Carter, I just want to say I'm sorry. We should have spoken up earlier." A woman in the next row nodded. "Naomi is lucky to have a father like you, and for what it's worth, she handled herself beautifully." Naomi looked out the window, taking a deep breath. She had stood her ground. She turned to her father, her eyes shining with pride. "Thank you for standing up for me, Dad." David smiled and placed his hand on her shoulder. "I will always stand up for you, Naomi, but what makes me proudest is that you stood up for yourself first." As the plane took off, Naomi realized she wasn't just flying to a new destination. She was stepping into a new chapter of her life. You belong wherever you choose to be, Naomi, and no one has the right to make you feel otherwise. Share this story to remind the world that respect is for everyone.